Alright, this is a soldier VOD review for some dude in bronze on Reddit. A lot of people are giving text-based replies, but I find it's kind of hard to translate text-based replies to like specific moments in the video. So even if someone gives you a timestamp, it's kind of awkward. It's much easier when just something happens and then you get the immediate feedback. I've watched this once, but I don't remember it all. Your comp kind of is rough. You don't really have a ton of healing, but because you're running, unless you're running an additional healer, I don't think you are. Let's see if you press tab. Okay. All right, composition. Solo heal Lucio is a rough life. You're gonna need to focus on not taking damage. You're a soldier, which is nice and convenient because you have your heal station, which heals you for a ton of health. Roadhog is self-sustained, which is good. Symmetra has her shields, so her health regenerates. Farah doesn't have health regen, and Reinhardt doesn't have health regen. And Lucio sucks at healing Reinhardt, like mega sucks at healing Reinhardt. If this was a Mercy or an Ana, you'd probably be doing a lot better. Or if one of your DPS was a Zenyatta, you'd probably be doing better. If the Symmetra was a primary healer, you'd probably be doing better. But Symmetra's pretty good if the teleporter doesn't die and if you get it fast. But this is gonna struggle in terms of just pure sustain if you get rushed. If you don't get rushed, you'll be fine. Because the passive heals on Lucio, like slow heals are good enough if you take damage slowly. But if anyone gets bursted, then they're screwed. Positioning wise, if you stay here, are you gonna stay here? I think you do. If I remember, you do stay here. Okay, this is a problem for a number of reasons, not the least of which is if the door opens, there's a Widowmaker, you just die. A lot of people just run Widowmaker for like 5 seconds when the door opens to just get a headshot on someone like this who's just standing still in the open. And if you start the game 5v6, you just lose the point. And you probably lose second point as well because you're going to respawn as they're capping and then maybe you try to contest or maybe they push out and kill you. Then you lose most of second too because you're 5v6 for that also. So like this positioning right here could actually just lose you the first 2 checkpoints right out of the gate. And it might seem like I'm exaggerating, but I've seen that exact situation happen so many times that it's honestly like, it's not an exaggeration at all. Where you get a pick in like the first 3 seconds, you rush in, you snowball, you cap, that person respawns, you grab them as they respawn, and then you're 5v6 for the second checkpoint as well. And that's like half the map that you've just capped in the first minute. And then everyone tilts, and it's a hard game. So yeah, you almost get, actually, we'll back up even, because I was talking about the Widow so much that I missed it. You move in even closer because you want to get damage on this Lucio as he comes out. But just like wait, just wait like 5 seconds. If there's a Roadhog that rounds this corner, you just die. You get hooked and you die. And then the same thing where you have that person picked early and then they snowball and whatnot. Like if you die in the first 15 seconds of the game, it's so bad. It's arguably the worst time to die, period. And you almost get pinned. If that Reinhardt was better, he might have actually pinned you because you could probably adjust the pin in time there to hit you. I really don't think playing in that choke that close is a good idea, especially since you're soldier, which means that your gun is just as good at this range as it is if you're like halfway across the map. Not literally halfway across the map, but if you're like on the other side of the point, the gun still does just as much damage. So in terms of just thinking about playing your effective range, this is not your effective range. I mean, this range kind of is, but you have nowhere to back up to for cover, and you actually just have no cover to play at all. Playing on the right side of the statue would be significantly safer and just safer, period. Like, it'd just be safer. Because you'd have a place to retreat to. You could still get this health pack here. You're closer to the high ground if you want to go on it, which you probably should, but whatever. If they start moving in, then you're kind of dead. But their Reinhardt sucks, which is good. Well, it's good for you. Kind of want to work on your aim there. I don't know if that's a sensitivity problem, but that ferret kind of needs to die. That That was good burst control though. Good burst fire in terms of just like tap, 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 tap to get it. But you want to work on your tracking so that you can kill that Pharah. And this is what I'm saying about playing your effective range. You can be farther back and your gun still works just as good or just as well. Your gun is still just as good. But you're outside of hook range, which means that you don't die. You always want to be as far away as possible while still being effective. Yeah. And so here you're moving towards this soldier when really you should be moving away from the soldier. Because the closer you are to someone, a soldier, the harder it is to kill them. Hook 2.0 saves you. Lucky stuff. And right now you just want to be building ult as fast as possible. But you die. And that really just comes down to you're moving in when you should be moving out. Because soldier sucks at close range. You just keep trying to maximize your range to the enemy. While still maintaining line of sight. And then one of the ways that you increase your range to the enemy is by being on the high ground. And everyone talks about the high ground as like this magical thing, because it is. High ground is good for just so many reasons. It increases your range to the enemy, so it's easier to outrange things like hook because you have the vertical distance as well as the horizontal distance. It's easier to break hook with hook 2.0 because you can back up and break hook that way. Less of your model is visible because like part of it is blocked by the ground. More of their model is covered by their head, or is taken up by their head because you're looking down at them. So you hit more headshots. What else? It's harder to aim up than it is to aim down. I'm not quite sure why, but it just is. And other reasons. Oh, also you can shoot over stuff. So if there's like a Reinhardt obstructing your field of view when you're on the low ground, if you're on the high ground, you can shoot over the Reinhardt shield and shoot stuff in the back. But the main thing I want to focus on is the fact that it just increases your distance to the enemy, because like that idea of just keeping yourself as far away from the enemy as possible is really important, and it's going to show up a lot, especially when playing against Roadhog. You kind of need to... I feel like you're so flustered, and you're like trying to dodge stuff, but there's nothing shooting at you. You can actually just stand still and you'll be fine, because there's nothing shooting at you. Like... yeah, like, what's on their team? Lucio, Roadhog, Winston, Pharah. At least I think there's Lucio. What's the res on this? Does it go any higher? No. Okay. This is Roadhog, Soldier, Pharah, Winston. Roadhog, it doesn't matter if you stand still as long as the hook is down. And if you're out of range, literally Roadhog can't touch you. The Pharah's not shooting at you, so you don't have to worry about that. And the Winston, it doesn't matter if you stand still or not, because he's a Winston, it's going to hit you. So in this position right here, you can just stand still. You don't need to worry about anything. Just take a second and breathe and kill the Winston because you're calm. But you're like trying to juke stuff, there's nothing coming at you. And so just chill. And if you chill, this Winston is dead. And like you move in to get closer because you're thinking, oh my god, I'm not killing this Winston, when you need to be maximizing your range instead. It's like, but like, the reason you're moving in is because you feel like Winston needs to die now, and the reason you feel like he needs to die now is because you were so flustered before you weren't able to kill him. So there's all kinds of things that are coming together to create the situation where the Winston doesn't die when really he should. And it all snowballs. And then also because the Winston doesn't die, the Reinhardt is able to get 3 kills because you're not shooting at the Reinhardt and you're putting no pressure on him. So like all kinds of things come together to create this situation where you're just completely boned. And when you die here, which inevitably you will because there's a soldier ulting, yep. Also, don't try to 1v1 a soldier while he's ulting. He has perfect aim, and you don't. This is just a poor decision. But more importantly, you're gonna die even if you don't take this 1v1 because he's gonna chase you. But like, the reason you're in this situation where your team is going to get the point capped and you're going to die and it's bad news for everyone is because A, you weren't playing your effective range, and you had to worry about all kinds of stuff. Well, you felt like you had to worry about all kinds of stuff. And B, you were super flustered and needed to just take a second and breathe. And being on the high ground will help you with that calmness, because when nothing's shooting at you, it's really obvious. And you can generally just assume that nothing's shooting at you because you're on the high ground and you're pretty safe, and like people have to go out of their way to shoot at you. I guess that's another way of looking at it. If you're far away, the enemy has to go out of their way to deal with you. If you're on the high ground, the enemy has to go out of their way to deal with you. You force them to change their game plan to adjust to you, which means that whatever they wanted to do, they can no longer do. And if they have to take the time to deal with you, then they're not taking the time to deal with your team. And it creates a situation where they feel overwhelmed, and you win because they don't know what to do. But instead, that situation I was talking about is happening to you, where you feel overwhelmed, you don't know what you can do, because they all come at you at the same time, I guess is what I'm saying. But if you're farther back and you're on the high ground or something, it's all good. If you were in literally this exact same situation, but up on that ledge that's like directly behind you, like you're gonna walk into a wall here. Yeah, so this wall, like this, you know this ledge. I know you know this ledge. There's like this ledge. I don't know how to draw this angle, but like, whatever. There's a thing over there. There's a thing over there. Wow, I'm so bad at drawing right now. Whatever. There's a thing over there that is high ground, and that Pharah kill is easier. You still get it, which is good, but just shooting straight up is so hard. You want to minimize the amount of straight up shooting that you have to do at any one time. And this is kind of greedy. I know they're pushing the cart and they're kind of far away, but there's nothing stopping this Reinhardt from just charging at you and then killing you. You backing away, which is good. But then you stop backing away, and you get pinned. Whereas, if you were thinking about just being far away, it would have been better. Because, like, you were never going to accomplish anything there because their Ryan shield is full health. Yeah. Okay. You seem really flustered, but there's actually nothing going on besides this Pharah. So the only thing you need to worry about right now is this Pharah. When the Pharah dies, you can go deal with other stuff. And especially since you're playing soldier, your #1 priority is kill the Pharah. So you're like looking around being like, oh my god, what's going on? Where is this Pharah? But she was literally on your screen like half a second ago. Like, she flies up. You can like kind of see her jet stream. Let me see if I can catch it. Lucio gets hooked. Lucio dies. Game is hard. So the Pharah's over there. You're thinking, okay, I gotta play cover, which is good. Wait for them to come to you. It's fine. The Pharah, you can kind of see her jet scream go across the screen there. You hear the sound, you're like, oh, Pharah, okay. You can hear it on the right also. I don't know if you play with headphones or not, but you definitely should. And she's on your screen there. You literally look up, she's right there. Go shoot her. She's still shooting you. You go down to half health, but you don't put down your heals. So if she lands another direct rocket, 72 HP is enough for you to just die. You're shooting at the Winston, but this Pharah is still wreaking havoc on your backline. And you're a soldier, you need to deal with that. And part of the reason that you don't feel like you can deal with the Pharah is because she's directly above you. And you're on the low ground. Like, she has the height advantage. And you're thinking, if I stop to deal with this Pharah, this Winston's going to kill me. Whereas, if you were in this alley over here, or if you were on the high ground, you could just stop, deal with the Pharah, and like nothing else would bother you. Because you're isolated from the enemy team. But this Pharah mega needs to die. And honestly, I don't even hate just ulting right there to just kill the Pharah, and then once the Pharah is then going and using the rest of the ult on the enemy team. And if you die here and don't use your ult, it's really bad. Even here's a fine time to ult. And like, you're struggling so much to kill this Pharah. I don't know if it's an aim thing, I don't know if it's a sensitivity thing, I don't know if it's spread control or what. But something needs to change in your play so that you can kill that Pharah. And then also, there's another thing. Another thing that would help kill the Pharah, beyond being on high ground or whatever. You're in this situation where your team is over here, the enemy team is here, and in order to get to your team, you have to like run through the enemy. you need to end this situation as fast as possible. If whether that's by just running onto the cart and suiciding, whether that's by going through this nook over here, or it's waiting for a lull in the action, or whatever. But you need to be with your team. And there's actually very little stopping you from just running to your team right now. But you need to be with your team because you're kind of probably going to get screwed. And if you're with your team, you don't have to feel like you're running from stuff. You can be a lot safer and you can take your time with your shots. And yeah. So, decent visor. Kind of waited too long to use it, but it's a good visor. Get some kills, good stuff. Good kills, easy fight. D.Va eats the rocket, saves your butt. Kill the Pharah. There you go. I feel like you're in that situation where you're aiming straight up at the Pharah a lot. And it's got to do with the fact that you're not thinking about your spacing. People sort of throw out this word positioning as if you need better positioning, but like what does that even mean? And it just means spacing a lot of the time. At least with Soldier it does. It just means like putting space between you and the enemy so that you can shoot them and they can't shoot you. With other heroes it means lots of different things, but yeah. So this spot here is really good because it's nice and safe. And like, they have to go so far out of their way to get to you. And actually, where your Ana is pretty good too. You could be up there. And you could also keep the Ana safe with your healing thingy if the Ana gets hit. But this is a nice spot because if your whole team is sort of fighting from here, then the Pharah has to go in to this closed area in order to shoot at you, and then she's a free kill. And like, you're moving in towards a Roadhog who has hook off cooldown. This is real risky business. Yeah, just try to spacing is how I'm gonna phrase it. Play your effective range. The visor comes out, but the D.Va's matrixing it, so you kind of have to trust your D.Va to matrix it there. And like, I know maybe that sometimes the D.Va doesn't, but if you don't trust your D.Va to matrix there, then you never get that kill. Good spacing here though, to like distance yourself from the Pharah, play the cover a little. But you need to think, now that the Pharah stopped shooting at you, you need to shoot at her, and now you do. But you don't stay on her long enough to actually secure that kill. Now you're moving back in, but like, there's no reason to be in any closer. Like, there's just no reason to be in any closer. Like, your gun is still just as effective at long range. I don't know what your Reinhardt's doing, why he's not on the cart. Because they're capped now. And that's kind of rough, but whatever. This game was 100% carryable though. Don't get pinned. When a Reinhardt charges at you, just run. And I guess even still, like, once your team kind of dies, you want to think about like, how am I going to put myself in a position where I can be the most effective? Because if you're not being as literally as effective as possible, then you need to change something. And you're gold damage, but like, that doesn't mean anything because your team is losing and you're not actually getting kills. That Pharah was low enough so that you definitely could have cleaned up that kill. And you also can ult here. And you get pinned because you aren't paying attention. It honestly just comes down to spacing and paying attention. Yeah. Like, maybe your reactions are slow, but you need to play around that. And then acknowledge that reactions are slow, and play farther back so that you can't get pinned. Hog misses hook, lucky. I'm very surprised you didn't get hooked there. Ana on the left, this is a free kill. Oh, that was your Ana. Okay, that's a good kill. You like playing out in front of your Rein shield? You're playing in front of your Rein shield when you don't need to. Yeah, I think your reactions are kind of slow because it took too long to look up at that Pharah. I don't know. You just need to play farther back in general on defense. Like right here. Don't go any closer than that. Yeah, now you're closer and now you're gonna die. I know you're thinking like, oh, I gotta stop the cart, but like Soldier doesn't need to be on the cart. Because your gun sucks when you're on the cart. So just play back and kill stuff and let your team stop the cart. Because like if you're on the cart, you're never gonna kill anything. And if you never kill anything, you're never gonna win this. Because you don't want to just stall. You're already in overtime. Stalling isn't worth anything. You actually need to kill stuff. I generally don't feel like you're being very effective as a DPS. But, yeah. Yeah. You're asking for DPS, but I don't think you were that good, to be honest. Like, you have gold damage, but you weren't really killing things. Like, you were getting stuff to like half health, and then they'd run away and you wouldn't chase. Or like, you'd get them to half health and then something else would start shooting at you, and then you would like switch targets as soon as they started shooting at you. You kind of need to slow down and just acknowledge the fact that like, I guess there are two situations that you can have with Soldier. Either you're comfortable and safe and then you have free reign, or you're not comfortable and you need to get, and you're not comfortable and safe and you need to get comfortable and safe. So if you're not far back enough so that, I guess if you're not far back enough so that you can freely sort of not stand still, but like basically stand still and just shoot stuff, then put yourself in a position where you are, whether that means being on high ground, whether that means backing up, whether that means playing cover more, or whatever. Your positioning should be such that you're just safe. And yeah, like your default position should just be on the high ground if you're playing Soldier 76, because it's safe and it's far away from the enemy. And then once you're in that position, you need to recognize I'm in this position where nothing's threatening me, and really take your time and get those kills and just slow down and breathe, because you look really flustered for most of this game. And I don't feel like you need to be. It generally feels like you don't really, like you feel uncomfortable, when you could just take a deep breath and just play. Yeah. Your Reinhardt's actually doing nothing. Your Reinhardt's hot garbage because he's... Okay. I know you're not a Reinhardt player, but you could probably get to Platinum by just playing Reinhardt, because like he's easy at low levels. Shield up, press W. Two-step process, it'll win you the game 70% of the time. Your Reinhardt's probably thinking like, oh man, we're losing shield war, my shield's getting spammed so hard, I never have any shield. But that's because as soon as the game started, he put up a shield and walked towards the choke. So A, he's walking really slow, it's going to take him forever. B, the shield is taking damage. C, because he's walking slower, the shield is taking more damage because it takes him longer to get there. And then by the time he gets to the choke, he has no shield. And then even though he does still have shield left, he doesn't go in the choke. Like, the whole point of Reinhardt is that you create this space where you literally cannot die behind it. So take advantage of that and, like, move in and make that space as big as possible. So your Reinhardt's just standing still and, like, hoping that... Like, your Reinhardt's just standing in the choke and hoping that by some miracle you're going to get a kill through his shield in, like, the half second that it's up, while the enemy's playing behind cover. When realistically, your Reinhardt actually just needs to charge or like just press W or do something besides just stand in this choke and let your shield break for 10 years. But if he actually just went in with his hammer swinging, once the hook is down, there's nothing that can kill him. And then you, as a player, as the Soldier 76 as the DPS, need to recognize that your Reinhardt is doing diddly squat to make space for you, and you need to go make space for yourself. The easiest way to do that right here would be, and like your team isn't going to do anything until you get a kill. I don't know why, but that's what's going on, because your Reinhardt clearly is scared of the enemy. So if you go, the only way you're going to get a kill is if you go on the high ground, because they're putting up a Mei wall every like 8 seconds or something, or whatever the cooldown is. And yeah. I get the feeling the rest of the video is literally just going to be me saying go to the high ground. I seem to remember that you guys don't ever push. I'm going to turn this down because I'm just going to talk for the next little while. Another perspective you can take on this is you want to be, I guess I've said this earlier, you want to be as effective as possible. If anything is reducing your effectiveness at all, you need to deal with that thing. And I think before it was in the context of if you're too close to the enemy, then back up. If there's a shield in the way, then get to high ground. If you just feel flustered, then take a second and breathe. And right now, the thing that's stopping you, I mean, there are two things. The main thing that's stopping you is your Reinhardt's never going in. So your options are either just run in and try to get behind the enemy so that they have to like, so that you can actually shoot stuff. And then your other option is get to the high ground on the balcony and kill stuff despite the Mei wall. Because the Mei wall is mega screwing you. The amount of time that you have to kill something is really low. And so you gotta land some baller shots in order to kill stuff. Which means get to high ground, go kill stuff. But your team is fragging out, I think. Did you see how much, like, you guys were so close to actually making a play there, and that Reinhardt was almost a free kill? But, like, you didn't actually take the kill. And, like, your Ryan got hooked out of charge, but then as soon as he gets hooked, turn around and kill the hog. And now you're trying to get in the back line, but, like, there's stuff in the front line that needs to die. Like, there's no reason to be going for that Torb when there's a Roadhog that's separated from his team and is easily killable. Like, this Mei is still over here. And this Roadhog is still over here. It's honestly fine to just Visor and kill both of them for free. Because you just want the kills. Like, Visor right now. Well, maybe not right there because you're getting frozen, but like your Pharah ults gets 2 kills. That could have been you. But like, Visor doesn't work against tanks. Like, it doesn't work against Roadhog because he just has so much health it just doesn't work. I don't really know what you can do here as a soldier beyond getting on that balcony and just shooting stuff while they're not ready for it. Because there's really, like, soldier needs long sight lines in order to be effective. And with your Reinhardt being this passive, you can't get long sight lines. So really your only play was to either switch heroes or go to the high ground and onto the balcony. Your other option is just to literally sprint through and go to the point and then try to run as far away from the enemy, like, through them and create distance that way. But you need long sight lines to be effective. This guy's flaming the DPS, but really it was your tanks that were the problem. Like, it was 100% your tanks were doing the problem. You did a ton of damage. Like Players in like, well, I don't know. Less than 20k is kind of rough. But like, I'm surprised how much damage you did for how little actually came out of it. But like, that was not effective damage. It was not effective damage. Main two things to focus on. One, maximize space between you and the enemy, whether that's by being on high ground or whatever. Two, and that's for defense mostly, but it's also somewhat on offense. Two, use your ults more. If you can get a kill on a squishy, it's okay to solo ult them, as long as they're not like the last one left. Like, if you use your ult, you get one kill and then do a bunch of damage to the rest of the team, but like maybe don't get a kill out of it, it's still worth it because that damage will probably translate to kills in the long run. Yeah, so make space, or not make space, but like put space between you and the enemy, and then once you have space between you and the enemy and you're relatively safe, just take a chill pill, take a breather, and like kill the thing. Because if there's nothing shooting at you, there's nothing stopping you from just standing still and taking your time and killing stuff. And yeah, there are a lot of problems in your gameplay, but that's to be expected because you're in bronze. But I think they're relatively easy to fix. I think. And then maybe your sensitivity is also a problem, because a couple of people on Reddit said that, but I can't tell. So good luck. I genuinely feel like if you played Reinhardt, you could probably climb it a lot easier, but that's debatable.